That's one. I don't think with the plants we'll go in just as deep, only because the where is this? I don't want to learn about every single plant in every single way. Every single plant's different from each other. But we can at least get the broad strokes of what these different plants are. And I'll make a separate section here. So nudibranches are coming down. And yes, I will make a different video about the nudibranches. I'll try to summarize things, make it a little bit easier to see everything. Most likely it'll be a stream video too. Carnivorous plant. This is always tricky with English pronunciation. I say carnivorous, but it's vorous, which isn't vorous, which is very different in pronunciation. Let's get to it. They are plants that derive some or most of their nutrients from trapping and consuming animals or protozoans, typically insects or other arthropods. And this is the key difference which makes them so weird. Plants are supposed to be the difference from heterotrophs. They are not supposed to eat things. Plants that do eat things are a bit odd. You're supposed to photosynthesize. You can make your own food. Why would you need to eat food if you can just make your own food? There's no reason for that. However, they do it. And they even say here, they can generate energy from photosynthesis. So I don't really know why they're eating things too. Oh, very interesting. They adapt to grow in places where the soil is thin or poor in nutrients, especially nitrogen. They can live in acidic bogs. So their environments are tough environments. And they're found everywhere except for Antarctica. Oh, but not the Pacific Islands either. Huh. So not very Pacific-oriented. So Charles Darwin called them insectivorous plants, which is a great name for a band, insectivorous. I thought involved. Oh wow, they thought it evolved independently 9 different times in 5 orders of flowering plants. Let's see, there's 583 species which do this. Thankfully not to people, because they would be dangerous. And it's 3 species a year. They keep finding more and more. There's proto-carnivorous plant species. Oh, what are the proto-carnivorous ones? Okay, so they have different trapping mechanisms. They fall into basic categories, and we can go through each category specifically. Let's see. All right, I'll put this one at the top. It's not covered first, but it's obvious. The Venus flytrap is extremely famous. Everybody knows it. It has 2 comb-like appendages. I'm not sure what they're called. They look like leaves. 2 comb-like leaves, which are open, and once a fly zips down and touches, it closes and eats them. And by doing this, it can gain energy from sucking out all of their liquefied flesh, which is what most of these do in one way or another. But we're also going to see plenty of them which are very different. Maybe you haven't heard of them, maybe you know the word, but you never knew what it really meant. And they also have some strange names. For example, the first one here is another one which is fairly famous. These are pitcher plants. And they work through pitfall. Yep, they trap it in a rolled leaf which contains digestive enzymes or bacteria. The basic idea is that these pitchers hang out here, and at the very top you can find some sweet syrup. So insects will climb onto it or fly onto it to drink out of the top. There's some dew up there you can see as well. The idea is that it's also sticky to be anywhere near it. So if they're touching the sticky part, or sorry, not the sticky part, slippery, if they're touching the slippery part next to the syrup, they will slip down into the pitcher. And then in that bottom portion, there is a pool of acid, which will slowly dissolve them, and then it will go back into the plant, and they will fully digest the insects. However, it is also well known, and I've seen this before too. Oh, it's over here. They will also opportunistically digest things. Small mice, little birds, they have no problem eating them too, and they can drown in the acid, which means more food for them. So quite literally, small animals can be eaten by plants. So you really got to be careful if you're an animal. It's not just what's moving around that'll eat you. There's a lot of other things that exist out there. These, we have fly paper traps with a sticky mucilage. Always mucus. It's always mucus. We're going to talk about those as well in a second. These guys are very famous. We have snap ones using the rapid leaf movement. This is Thigmonesty or Seismonesty. That's going to be the Venus flytraps, but let's see. Let's put these down here. I like the name here. Rapid leaf movement. Like a jaw. And it looks just like a jaw as well. It's a jaw. It bites down. Some of them are, that's the sticky mucilage is effectively a fly paper. It sticks to the flies and eat them after. Let's get these out here a little more. Yeah. Do all that. There are bladder traps which suck them in with a bladder to generate an internal vacuum. Alright, there's bladder traps. And the name bladder is actually used in the species as well. This plant will have a name and be performing this by containing them in a place. And we also have the lobster pot traps, or eo traps, which forces them to move to a digestive organ with inward pointing hairs. It's the concept that once you go in, you can't go back out. You have to leave a different way which you came in. Because all the hairs keep pushing you, and you can't go back into them because they stick into you. So you have to keep going forward and forward into acid, essentially. Traps. It can be active or passive depending on how you get them. The Triphyphylum, it's a passive fly paper which secretes the mucilage with very mucusy things. The leaves do not grow or move in response at all. So this is it's the passive approach. You can just have sticky stuff, and the sticky stuff eats things. Here we go. The sundews are the active flypaper traps, and their leaves undergo acid growth. Oh, okay. And they expand their cells instead of dividing their cells to enable them to, what is this? The plant tentacles. The plant tentacles bend to then hug you, essentially, with stickiness. And those are the sundews over there. So let's go through some of these plants at least. I'm not going to do this. That's way too much extra information. But we'll keep them down here. The proto-carnivorous plants. I'm sure that they're probably similar in one way or another. Pictures. This is the mucilage or mucilage. We've got Thigmonesty. There we go. Triphyphylum. It's a monotypic plant genus. All over the place. Ooh, very African. It has short, non-carnivorous leaves, which have a pair of grappling hooks. Wow. So how does it eat them? Okay, there's no explanation of carnivorous behavior. It says they do this, but I'm not seeing them, so maybe they're just not included here. Right, but these were. Where is it? These are the fly paper ones. So they're supposed to be very sticky. I guess they eat you like that, but it's a slow dissolving in acid that way. But the leaves don't move. Whereas when you get the sundews over here, they call them Drosera. Is that a family? What is that? Oh, it's a genus. Okay. Drosera is the genus, except the common name is a sundew, and these are the very famous one. So these guys have all of these red protrusions that stick out from the leaves. And at the tip of each one looks like a little ball, which is very sticky. That's the mucus on it. And the flies and everything else will come down to feast on some of the syrup on them. And then all the little balls will start moving. The leaves here actually move and they can bend. And the balls start sticking to you. And then more of them stick to you, more of them stick to you. And they push you together until you are hugged in a sea of mucus and you cannot move, and then they start acidifying you. Just dump acid on you. Too bad. Yes, and they're called sundews because it looked like dew on them. I've seen this 100 times too. This is an example. You get a fly, which one is this? Yeah, we're going into different species here. You have a fly and you get rolled up, like sushi. You get rolled up like sushi. Okay, so an example we got. I love this. Is a book, just scans a PDF to demonstrate something. Ooh, acid proof too. Okay, let's go through some of the other cases though. Got that one. So let's see the pitch plants. They have an internal chamber. Oh, okay, so plenty of different species can do this. The Periostome, they secrete something to bring them all in, and they have an anthocyanin pigment. And this is the way that insects' eyes work. A lot of insects can see ultraviolet, and plants take advantage of this by attempting to have pigments which are visible to insects specifically to attract them. So this pigment, for example, can be used to attract them to it, but it's attracting them to a trap. It's a trap attraction. Covered in, yeah, there we go, waxy flakes, which are very slippery, and then they fall in. Once inside, they are digested with the enzymes, or, mutualistic species will break them down. Very nice. So they have friends that rip them apart. Oh my god. Water can be trapped, which makes a habit for other animals and plants. Okay, that's very interesting. Like the Heliumphora is one of the most popular ones. Oh, interesting. So they're in Roraima, which is a very big mountain complex, but it looks like a large, flat mountaintop. And it's very, very rainy there. So they needed to figure out, they can't get full of water because it defeats the purpose. So they have like holes where they can squirt the water back out. Anything else here? Oh, okay, we got proteases and phosphatases. And I'll just rip them up. Oh my god. This one uses nectar, which is laced with conine? Conine? I don't know. It's also found in hemlock, which they use to intoxicate them and poison them. Okay, so some of them just straight up poison you too. Wow. There's also something called monkey cups. This one here. Nepenthes Raja, which guess where that's from again. This one catches small mammals and reptiles. You can eat different things. Oh my. Again, there's a whole bunch of them. I can go look through those later, but I'm not going to do that now. Ooh. These are the flypaper trap ones. Let's see. Some of them. Here's another one with the butterworts here. Oh, so this is what short means. If you don't have a stalk, you're very short, so it's sessility. You're sessile. This is a fungus, that's it. It has over 100 species of active flypapers. Ooh. Okay. So these guys are butterworts. And the way they work is that their leaves look okay, but in fact, and you can see it here, have a lot of mucus they excrete onto all these tiny little protrusions. And once you land, you're stuck, and you're just trapped onto it. Ugh. That's rough. Okay, butterworts. And some of them have flowers, some of them don't. Okay, there's a lot of variety here. But those are the butterworts. Sticky leaves, and they will stick to you because they're sticky. Oh, interesting. This is another version of it. And these are like, it's a dewy pine. So like long hands, which are very sticky. Yeah, a lot of these plants seem to live in hard, it's always bogs, mountains. This one lives near deserts. They always live in the hardest places. So you cover those guys. Obviously, you have the snap traps. These are the Venus flytraps. Also, we have water wheels. I don't know as much about water wheels. How do they eat? So they have underwater snapping parts. And they're twisted to point open. And they have fine hairs, of course. When you get inside, they snap shut. So 10 to 20 milliseconds. You do not have time. It's extremely fast. So I guess it's these. I think it's these. And they snap shut to grab you. Alright, we also got water wheels. And this is, of course, for a separate purpose as well. Venus flytraps aren't underwater. There's plenty of insects and little creatures underwater, too. You do not want to lose those opportunities. Water wheels. Who else we got up here? And these are the bladder traps. And this is where you get bladder warts. A name which really does fit what they do. And they pump ions out of the interior. Water falls by osmosis, which generates a partial vacuum. Oh, yeah. They have small openings with hinged doors, which basically end long hairs. So they push you through into this chamber. And once you're through, you're stuck. Done. And because of the vacuum, they literally suck you in because it's more pressurized, and they can suck you in like this. Wow. Not a great place to be. Get our bladderworts with us. What's the next one we got? Oh, these are lobster pot traps. So it's easy to enter, and you really can't get out because of the. Okay, these are the inward pointing hairs. The other ones just have the hairs to kind of get you in. There we go. And these are corkscrew plants. And the corkscrew ones you can enter through a tip. Let's see where it is. And you enter into a spiral entrance. And because of the hairs, you have to keep moving to the stomach at the center region here. And that's where you're digested. These are the corkscrews. So many fun ways to trap and digest people. Alright, handspell corkscrew. There we go. And of course, plenty of different ways to do it. There's never just one plant. There's always multiple ones. Oh, wait, this is... Oh, here's something else. No, I won't go through that then. Oh, look at that. And some of them combine mechanisms. This one has flypaper and snap traps, which we discussed before as the passive and active nature of some of the carnivorous plants. Some of them just lie flat and you stick and die on them, or you stick to them and then they grab you very quickly. So you can combine different things too. And the nepenthe, okay, so this version of the nepenthes, the jambon, is a pitfall and a flypaper trap because the fluid is sticky, so you can stick to it and fall into it. Great. Oh, look at them all. They're all so creative and cute. Okay, we've got plenty more proto-carnivorous ones, but I'll likely make a full video where I just go through the differences very simply. It'll be much shorter than this kind of stream, but this was good to explore and at least look at them.